Hello everyone and welcome to this step-by-step guide on how to paint expressive peonies using oils. In this video, I will be showing you the technique and give you tips on how to improve your painting skills. But before we even start the painting, it's important to lay out all the paint that you will need so that you will have a cohesive color scheme. For this artwork, I'm just going to have a couple greens, white, red, and a burgundy, but you can replace that with brown or purple. I pre-toned the canvas with this bright red just to contrast the gentle peonies, and of course they will also reflect a little bit of that red since they have a slight pink shade in them. As you can see, I'm starting off by going in with a big brush that is loaded with this very gentle pink, and I'm not trying to get any of the petals, I'm just trying to get the overall shape of each flower, which is pretty much a circle, and depending on the angle that changes slightly. At this point, thinking about the details is a little overwhelming as there are lots of them, lots of petals, especially flowers like roses or peonies. So let's just start with the overall shape, and then we will dig into the details later on, and you will see that we don't even need that much to convey the message and to have this resemblance with the flowers. Now that we've marked the composition, we are pretty much good to go with the shadows. As you can see, the shadows here are not entirely circular. We are kind of following the shape of the flower, but still we're not really thinking about the petals so much. Also, using different brushes really help you to stay a little more organized, since you can use one brush for the shadows, the other for the lights, and that way they will not mix up between each other and the painting will not get muddy. In the case of this artwork, there are 3 flowers, and of course we have to prioritize which one will get the most details, and some of the petals will be a little more highlighted than the others. So I would choose the one that is at the bottom because it's the most open and it's kind of facing the viewer. So I would add a little more detailing on there. And then the one that is at the very top, it's kind of turning away. So we will just have a sort of general shadow and light going on there. Also, I want you to notice that the shadows are not very dark. They're just cooler by the temperature comparing to the overall flower. So that's why it looks like it's a very contrasting shadow, when in reality it is only contrasting based on the temperature. So here you don't want to go into something that is too light and too dark. It will be very hard to organize at the end. So mostly we're working with the different temperatures of the shades. Now, even though this is a very expressive work, we still need it to be cohesive and make sense. That is why I am slightly outlining the flowers with that background color. That will give them a little more structure and just kind of bring the shape in its final look. Now we're moving on to the lights. So far we've been dealing with midtones and shadows, and now it's time to actually brighten up the painting a little bit and bring out some of the petals. As you can see, I'm not even outlining either one of them. I'm just laying down the light where it would naturally hit the flowers. If you have certain peonies or any other flowers in real life that you would like to draw, do use them. They're great models, they don't move, and of course you can take pictures for your own reference in the future. And when you have a reference and you have something to look at, of course things get a lot easier and the painting looks a little more natural and has more life in it. I'm starting to add this minty green to the background. It kind of blends in a little better with the shadows and makes the painting look just a little more gentle. But at the same time, I'm keeping that red peeking through just to also tie it together with the flowers so that everything looks nice, cohesive, and connected. I will be changing the overall background color later on, as you saw in the end result. But if you want to keep it red, you can absolutely do that. Or if you want it to be something very neutral, you can definitely go for something like blue-gray or green-gray, something that would still sort of reflect the uh, petals and the stems of the flowers. Also, adding those bright red bits into the flowers themselves will additionally add the structure to the petals, but still not outlining a single one of them. And it will just kind of create a little bit more dimension in there. It's also important to understand that we cannot simply go and do one flower from start to finish and then move to the other and then the other and then do the background, because that way your painting will be a little disconnected, like the parts of that painting will be a little disconnected from each other. And it's just so much easier and so much more logical to kind of do step one on the whole thing, then step two on the whole thing, and just kind of keep going back and forth between those elements until each looks the way you want it to be. Of course, the flower that's at the bottom is getting more details and a little more attention from me than the flowers that are above it, since they are kind of turning away and they're there mostly to support the flower that has more details and is the main focus of the painting. Now the background is getting a little more gentle with that green, of course the red also peeking through. I'm also going to add just a little bit of red in certain petals, like just 2 to 3 in each flower, which is a very minimal number. You don't have to do that, but if you want to have just a little more of realism and just a little more detail, that's great. I think it will just add a little more life and the factor of believing that those flowers exist. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to stay tuned for the future videos. And I will see you in the next one.